My wife cheated. Now I'm thriving while she falls apart. Today marks what would have been my 10-year wedding anniversary with my ex-wife, Sophia, 31F. We had been together since high school and tied the knot shortly after college. We share 3 beautiful kids, and for much of our marriage, life felt stable, if not perfect. Sophia stayed home during the early years of our marriage, raising our children while I, 32M, worked full-time. However, as time passed, she became restless. She wanted more than the role of a stay-at-home mom. I supported her decision to return to college, hoping it would reignite her passion and bring her some happiness. At first, it seemed like a good move. But just one semester away from graduating, Sophia decided her major no longer interested her and dropped out. She chose instead to take up a job as a waitress at a local restaurant where her best friend, Rebecca, 38F, also worked. Sophia seemed to enjoy the change. Her mood improved, and she even began making friends for the first time in years. Seeing her find joy again, I adjusted my life to support her. I rearranged my work schedule so I could handle school drop-offs, after-school activities, and household chores while Sophia worked nights and weekends. She had struggled with depression for years, including one serious suicide attempt, and I was happy to do anything that helped her feel more fulfilled. As she settled into her new job, Sophia began sharing stories about her coworkers, including one particular line cook, Nathan, 24M. At first, the stories were harmless anecdotes about workplace drama and customer interactions. But over time, she started mentioning how Nathan complimented her and flirted with her. I expressed my discomfort, explaining that their relationship seemed inappropriate. Sophia assured me she would shut it down. After that, Nathan's name stopped coming up in conversation, and I believed the issue was resolved. But things between us began to shift. Our marriage, once a partnership, felt distant. We stopped going on dates, avoided deep conversations, and our connection felt more like roommates than spouses. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, even if I didn't have proof. One night in March, everything came crashing down. Sophia didn't come home after her shift at the restaurant. I had fallen asleep on the couch, waiting for her, but when I woke up around 2 a.m. and realized she still wasn't home, I started to worry. I called her phone 3 times before she finally answered. She claimed she had too much to drink and was staying at Rebecca's house for the night. This explanation didn't sit well with me. Rebecca and I had been at our daughter's dance practice that evening, and I knew Rebecca had gone straight home. Still, I tried to give Sophia the benefit of the doubt. As I lay back down, my unease grew. I remembered the parental control app we had installed on our daughter's phone, which also tracked Sophia's location. Checking it, I saw her location wasn't at Rebecca's house, but at an apartment complex miles away. My stomach sank. I recognized the address. Sophia had once casually mentioned it was where Nathan lived. At 5:30 a.m., Sophia finally walked through the door. She was visibly intoxicated and looked like she hadn't slept. I confronted her immediately, asking where she had been. At first, she repeated her story about being at Rebecca's, but when I pointed out the inconsistencies, she changed her story, claiming she was at another coworker's house. Her shifting stories only fueled my suspicions. I finally asked, "Are you having an affair with Nathan?" After a long, tense pause, she nodded. In the days that followed, I struggled to process the betrayal. Sophia and I agreed to try couples therapy. I also started individual therapy to make sense of my emotions. Deep down, I knew I no longer loved her, but I wanted to see if there was any chance to repair things. For the kids, if nothing else. Sophia told me she had ended things with Nathan and was committed to working on our marriage. She even broke up with him in a public coffee shop, fearing his reaction. That night, I consoled her as she cried over ending her relationship with her boyfriend. It was surreal. Despite her promises, things didn't improve. Our dates felt forced and awkward. Every interaction was tinged with mistrust. Then, I discovered she was still talking to Nathan. I confronted Rebecca, who was equally upset, and organized an intervention with Sophia's coworkers. They sat her down to address her behavior, but Sophia came home from the meeting unsure of what she wanted, me or Nathan. A week later, I received a text from an anonymous coworker informing me Sophia was still seeing Nathan. It was the final blow. I had given her every chance, but her lies and deceit made it clear our marriage was beyond saving. I told Sophia I wanted a divorce and asked her to move out. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, but I knew it was the right one. Over the next few weeks, I started focusing on myself. I joined a gym, began running, and spent more quality time with my kids. During this time, Rebecca and I stayed in touch. What began as conversations about Sophia evolved into something deeper. We shared stories about our exes, vented about the betrayal, and bonded over the pain they caused us. One night, I asked Rebecca to grab a drink, and we spent hours talking and laughing. By the time Sophia moved out, Rebecca and I had started dating. It felt strange at first. She had been Sophia's best friend for years, but our connection was undeniable. 6 months later, Rebecca and I are still together, and I've never been happier. While my life has taken a positive turn, Sophia's has been a mess. After moving out, she got pregnant with Nathan's child. She lost her job after being accused of sexual harassment. She had been Nathan's supervisor and was fired from her next job within weeks. Nathan, as it turns out, has a drug problem. He was fired from the restaurant for being high at work and is rumored to sell drugs on the side. Most of Sophia's friends have distanced themselves from her, tired of her lies and destructive behavior. While I feel for her as the mother of my kids, I can't help but feel relief that I'm no longer tied to her chaos. My priority now is ensuring my children grow up in a stable, loving environment. Since separating from Sophia, I've lost weight, completed my first triathlon, and found happiness with Rebecca. I'm in the best shape of my life, physically and emotionally. My kids are thriving, and I finally feel free to focus on building a brighter future. Sophia's choices may have derailed her life, but they gave me the push I needed to take control of mine. I'll always be there for my kids, but as far as Sophia is concerned, I'm just glad to be moving on.